Okay, so in this video now we're going to look at layers. So layers are a very important aspect when it comes to AutoCAD drawing. So when we have a busy drawing with like a floor plan and we have lots of doors and walls and everything, if you just draw them all kind of on the same layer, that means it does make things a bit more difficult to organize. So layers are kind of different things. So a door would have its own layer, furniture would have its own layer, walls would have its own layer. So in theory we could actually turn off, if you have a drawing, a busy drawing, you could turn off all your door layers and all the doors would disappear. If you only wanted to show the mechanical, electrical and plumbing information, you could turn off all your stuff and just show the plans for them. Or you could turn off all your concrete plans or all these different things. So usually everything on AutoCAD is drawn on layers. So in your ribbon, so we're in the Home tab. So up along the top here we have our layers. So this is our layers property. So this little drop down menu. This shows what layer we're actually currently drawing on. So currently we're set by default to layer 0. Layer 0 is kind of a complicated thing, but by default that's what it is. But if you click on the layer properties option, should come up. Mine's coming up on the other screen, so let's bring it over. So you get this screen showing up here. So currently we only have one layer. So we see these little icons here. It's very small for some reason, but the first one here with the little kind of sun, that's a new layer. And these are kind of three different layers. We'll kind of work about down in a second. So but just worry about this one here. So we're going to start a new layer first of all. So again, this is going to be following a little exercise in the notes. We're going to just draw a little clock. So we're going to click the first layer. By default it comes up with layer 1, and every layer you add is going to be layer 2, layer 3 for example. So I'm just going to rename this one Big Circle, and I am going to give it a color of, going to give it a color green. So if these are all the kind of the index colors here. So just for these exercises you can just use the default ones over this side. So I'm going to give it a green color. Click OK. And actually no, sorry, just for this exercise I'll give it a blue color. That's when just follow the notes. So big circle is going to be blue. I'm going to create another layer, and that's going to be small circle. And then one more layer. Click on a new one. Oh no, that's for some reason did that. And then that's going to be outline. Sorry, the outline is going to be green. No, it didn't change. The small circle is going to be yellow. So click in here and just click yellow. So you should have big circle blue, outline green, small circle yellow. We don't have to worry about anything else just for the moment yet. So now to know which layer you're actually going to be drawing on, you'll see here this little green tick. Wherever this green tick is beside, that's the layer that's currently in use. So currently we're using layer 0. As I said, layer 0 is special properties. We'll kind of cover them in another lecture, but basically don't rename this or don't delete this. So just leave layer 0 as it is, and we'll just stay away from it for the moment. So what we'll do first of all, we're going to click on the big circles. All I have to do is click on the little icon here, double click, and you'll see the tick will appear here. And then you'll see on our layers tab up here that the big circle is now active. So now we know this is the layer that we're going to be drawing on. So now our lines should all be blue. So just going to close that down. So if you follow the notes, what we're going to do, here's the exercise here. Just show this down a bit small. So we're going to draw this shape here. But remember, we've actually already created a layer. So this is going to be a kind of a small little clock. So this outer layer here is going to be blue. The inner layer was going to be, what color did we say? Big circle is going to be blue, small circle yellow, and the outline is going to be green. So there we're going to go. We're going to do this first of all. So I'll just do the circles first, and then we'll just stop it there. Let's close the notes. So our dimensions are actually for the circles were actually on the notes. So I'm just going to bring up the circle, and we are given the dimensions in the radius. So drop the menu, center radius circle is going to be. So just click anywhere on the screen. So I'm already kind of just seeing from the size of the coordinates I'm showing up on the screen, it's like 2,500 and 1,900. So our circles are going to be quite small, but we'll worry about that in a second. So if you click on the draw, just click anywhere on the screen, we'll see we can go up or down, whatever size you want. So specify the radius of the circle. So we're going to type in or for the radius. That's already it's already selected or. So specify the radius of the circle. Yeah, so it's radius by default. So the radius for this big circle is going to be 60 units. So type in 60. So there we go. We'll just zoom in a bit so we can see better. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to activate the yellow circle or the small circle. So click on your little drop down menu, click on the small circle, and you see now this is our line here. So we're going to draw the circle. The smaller circle is going to have a radius of 30. So again, using our object snap, you can see actually it's already the circle, it's already waiting for us to select the center by the little plus sign, and it'll go green once we're there. So clicking on the center, radius is the we're going to be doing, so the radius is going to be 30, so just type in 30. There we go. So we have our blue outer circle and a yellow inner circle. The next thing we're going to do is the outline. Sorry, just actually said just for myself kind of flipping back between screens, I just copy the image into AutoCAD. So this is actually a straightforward thing to do. Basically, I went into Microsoft Word, just clicked on the image, Control C, brought it into AutoCAD and press Control V to paste it in, and it showed up right here. So it's a handy way to do it if you need to do it before. At the end, we're going to draw all this one now. This is at the end. This is all going to be drawn using the outline layer. So come up here to our drop down menu, select the outline, and now we're going to draw the outline of it here. So the next thing we want to do is actually draw the outline. So you're probably thinking how we're going to get this started. So again, you have to kind of look at the information that you're given and then think about what's the best way to go forward. So in this case, we want to kind of go down to here, but we don't know how far we actually have to go down and what distance this is. We know what this complete distance is, so it's over 200 long. So if it's 200 wide at the base, then we know the midpoint is going to be 100. So what can we do with that? Well, if you look at this dimension here, we know that from the center point of the circle down to this line is 70 units. And then from this line down to the base, it's going to be 50 units. And we know the center of the base is going to be 200 here. So if we actually draw a line down 70 plus 50, so 130, and go straight down to here, sorry, then we'll actually have the center point of our base. So then we know, then we can actually start down here and then work our way back up. So I'll just do that quickly. So bringing up the line command, hovering over our center point, and again, in this case, since we have polar tracking and all those other things on, and dynamic input, we don't actually we don't need to use the orthographic ortho mode. So it's going to point a line down this direction, and we know it's going to be 70 plus 50. Draw this when I'm going to draw. It's going to be 70 plus 50, which is going to be 120. So we're going to go straight down, just line it up. You can see our little dashed green line. So press 120 into the keyboard, type down, and now we know the end point of this is going to be 120 units from the center of the circle downwards. So to get the base, we know it's going to be 100. It's going to be 200 long, so it's going to be 100 this side, 100 this side. So again, what we're actually drawing here are these are kind of temporary lines that are going to be deleted later on. So these aren't going to be the final shape, but they will be used to help draw the final shape. So again, we know the base is 200 wide, so center to center, from center, it's going to be 100 each side. So we got 100 out that way. Bring up the line command again and go 100 this way. Okay, so now we have the bottom of our shape, kind of the plan of it at least anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is start just marking this up a little bit. So if we go, we know here it's 50 units up from the base, so we can do that. So just point a line up, press 50, there we go. And just to use some commands that we did before, we can mirror this. So if we select this line, click on the mirror command at the top, and again specify our first point. So if we mirror it from this point here, just click that point, and you see when I bring the mouse down, that's a kind of rotating around. But if you bring it downwards, it's actually going to be mirrored over to the other side. So click that. Do you want to erase source object? No, we don't. So there we go. We actually use the mirror command to kind of duplicate it. Technically, we could actually draw everything on this side and mirror it all over, but you know, again, there's 10 different ways you can draw things in AutoCAD. So the next thing we're going to look at again, what will we do? We'll do this. We'll draw the line underneath the clock first of all, because that's a straightforward enough one. So we'll just join up these 2 points here, like that. And then on the bottom, we'll work on the base now. So on the bottom, you'll see it's kind of 50 units across here, and then 50 units across here. So we'll draw it on one side. I'm going to actually just draw over the line. Well, actually, we don't need this line, so we can actually select these for the moment and just delete them, because we don't need them anymore. Because you see, there's actually no continuous line going across, and we have our endpoints, so we can get rid of those. We can get rid of, I'll leave that there now just in case we need it. So going from the end point here, we need to go 50 units across. So it's 50. There we go. And we know the line is actually going to be going, so we need to go actually up to about 30, need to go up and 30 points across to get the section here. So there's a way I'm going to do it is, we know it's going to be 30 units high, so go 30 units high and then 30 units across, and then it's actually a diagonal back down to this point here, so we can go back down here, and here we go. And then now we've got this shape here. We don't need these two lines, or we don't need these two lines anymore. So again, we'll use the mirror command. We're going to basically, we need to put these two diagonal lines same with this side, so you can do the same thing what you did there, but why redo it if you've already done it once? So select the two of these, bring up the mirror command again, just we'll click a center point and just bring the mouse downwards like this, click OK. No, we don't want to erase, and there we have our the same thing over here. And now all we have to do is actually just join the dots, join the lines I should say. Here we go. And now we don't need this line, so we're just going to delete. So the last thing we have to do now is actually just draw these diagonals to the side. So click on the end point here, and again, kind of where we put them is it'll be a bit different here. I'm just going to use the center point as a kind of a reference where to put it. So hover the mouse over the center point of the circle, and you'll see a object track line come across to get to the blue circle. Just click there, and to make sure it's the same on the other side, we can use the mirror point again. So click on mirror. I'll use the midpoint of this line as actually our mirror point, and then if you bring it, just bring the mouse downwards, click OK, erase source object, no, hit enter, and there we have our outline of the circle. I know it's slightly different there, but it's okay. I won't tell anyone if you won't. So we have our green outline on one layer, a blue outline another layer, and a yellow outline another layer. So to show what layers are actually, how this can be useful, I want you to go back up to the layers drop down menu and just click on the 0, because we're going to turn some of the layers on and off, but you can't, it is, you'll kind of confuse AutoCAD if you try and turn off the layer which you're currently trying to draw on. So I'm going to click on the 0. So now we're actually back on the 0 layer. So now we can actually turn off these different layers. So if you, again, bring down a drop down menu and see this little light bulb here, so that's for turning a layer on. So if we turn off if we click this one for the blue circle, you see we turn it off, the layer is gone. Turn it back on, it's back on. Turn off the green one, the green outline is gone, turn it back on. And again, same for the small circle. So I actually had this line, I had this shape. When I inserted this shape, it was actually on. I had the small circle layer activated. So this drawing, this image is actually on the small circle layer. So see, whatever you put on a different layer can be turned on and off using the layer property manager, which is a very handy again when you've got very complicated drawings of buildings and floor plans, and say the plumbers only want to see the kind of the plumbing works and the pipes. You can turn off all the other stuff that are getting in the way. Or if the structural engineer only wants to see the steel layout, the foundation layout, you can turn off all the mechanical, electrical stuff. It just makes things easier. So it depends who's looking at drawing, who's going to be using it. You can turn the layers on and off. So this is a very useful thing to know. So that's our quick video on layers. A simple drawing that we did, but the process of actually using layers is the same no matter what you're going to do. So in our subsequent drawings, we're going to start using layers a bit more often, actually all the time now. So, and then for our continuous assessment, you'll be using layers again. So the next thing we're going to look at is going to be looking at title block. So that'll be in the next video. So yeah, I'll see you then.